So in order to start this process, we have to get our media, which is in this roll, from over here to over there to the printer. So we're just gonna simply pick it up, make sure that our liner here is off of it. We're gonna take off all the stuff that's on here as well, like the tape that's holding it together. Make sure that we're lining it up correctly on the printer, and then we're gonna go from there. Okay, so we got all of our tape and our plastic off the roll. So you can see the roll is oriented to where the vinyl is facing out, the paper is facing in. Now all we gotta do, pro tip move, is you take your feed reel here, and from this side, make sure you got plenty of room behind it. You're just going to slide it in all the way until you reach the other side here, which is hard to do with the camera. But basically what you're gonna do is you're going to move this all the way to the edge and line it up into this little slit right there. And then after that, we're going to take this end right here and put it over this end of the bar, and then we're going to flip that little tab down like that and lock it into place. Okay, so you have your your feed reel, sorry, all the way in. It's lined up into that slot there. Your end piece here is also set up. So now what you're gonna do, just like the instructions say here, you're going to grab the bar and just lift it into place. And it's going to put everything to where it should be. Double check that both sides are locked. Hear that little pop right there. And all you're gonna do is you're going to take the media, you'll see this little roller right there. You're going to put the media over the roller and feed it in with both hands, one on each side, nice and straight and even. Make sure everything is tight, and then the printer is going to take the media up for you. Make sure before you do anything that there's nothing on your screen, that it's perfectly free, because if something is on here, then it may not take up the media for you. Okay, so you'll see here now that you've got the media all the way in on both sides. There is nothing on your screen, and you can just push it in. Hard doing it with one hand, but you should hear the printer beep, and you'll feel the media start to get tugged on by the printer. And once it does that, it's gonna start taking it up on its own, and the media is getting ready to be loaded. So now what you're gonna do is you're just gonna track your length. This is a brand new roll, so we're gonna take the length tracking, put that to 150 feet. All the other stuff can stay basic, and we're doing this with a new material. So we won't go through that process today, but we're gonna be choosing for this one 3M 180 CV3. So right now we're just gonna do none of these. I'll create and search for it later. And then your printer is going to start loading up the media here for you. And that's a good sound and motion. It means that the media is straight when you put it in, which is surprising after doing it one-handed. Now your printer is going to adjust itself to make sure that the tension is correct. It's going to load the roll back and forth, adjust the media calibration advance, or the substrate calibration advance, back and forth, and then in a few minutes you'll be all set to print. Alrighty, so now we're ready to print the file that we had made before, so we're just going to set it over to the printer. Now you can just open it up in the print queue, which is here. And pardon me that I'm not recording my screen. We're gonna be doing some moving around to see how things are going here in a minute. But what we're going to do is we have some hotkeys set up for this already and some of the actions that we use here. So we're just going to go ahead and shift F12. And that brings up a tiny little dialog. You can see it says HP365, which is the printer that we're using. And when we open that up, it's going to give us all these options for all the different presets that we currently have. So right now we're gonna be printing on 180 CV3. I'm just gonna press OK, and it's gonna print artboard 1, which is the artboard that we made before and everything on it. And now you will see when you open up the RIP queue, it's automatically loaded into here. So what this does is it pretty much sets all the settings that you want for your media. The printer profiles the media itself the first time around. As you can see, we just did that with the media profile that we created. It makes saturation little proofs here for you, then it does a color calibration, and then it makes its own ICC profile for the particular media to make sure that all the colors are hitting correctly from inside of it, which is kind of cool. So now all that information is stored into just a quick preset that we just opened up. So as you can see, it's 3M180CV3. We're going at 300 DPI, 10 passes at 110% ink, going to give us a little bit better color. And you can see all the way around here, the little pink cut path is the one that we had created for the SUNY Wildcats logo, and it looks pretty good in the preview. So now we can see that it's going to be 23 inches wide. We're going to just print 2 of these real quick so we can use up the usable space of the media roll, which is, as you can see, it thinks it's a 56-inch roll, but it's actually 53. Well, it's 54, but it's 53.59 usable space on there wide. Just going to press OK. And you're going to take it off of hold. We have that as a preset automatically, so it's just going to start printing, so it doesn't start printing on you by itself. Take the hold off, and now the media is green, and you'll see that your little preview here, what it's going to look like, is all set up. We also have the GraphTech FC9000 set here, so it's going to send the cut paths that you saw, the pink ones, over to the cut server. And if we look around here, we should be able to find it once it starts printing. So we'll take a look at that here in a minute. But at this point, your media is loaded. All your information is correct for the profile that you have. Your preview looks all right. So you can just go down here and hit print now. So now as soon as you've printed print now, you're going to see that there's activity going on immediately. And oh, hit my knee there. And the printer also has the information from the file that you had sent over instantaneously. So now it's going to start warming up. As you can see that it's going to be going from 120 degrees to 241 degrees Fahrenheit. Let's just straight up print. We've got 144 feet left on the roll from 150 because we did all of these little proof here sections. So in a couple of minutes, it's going to start printing, and we'll take a look at that. Okay, so your printer started to print. It actually prints pretty quick. Let's see if we can't take a peek. Got some nice looking SUNY Poly Wildcats logos coming out right now. And this printer is an instant dry printer. So what we're gonna wanna do is we're gonna wanna take one of these cores right here. And we're gonna put this down there, and we're gonna start getting this thing taken up. All right, so now that we got plenty of slack down here, we can take this whole thing and kind of, it's tough to do one-handed, but we're gonna try. Just gonna put one little piece in the center here. I'm gonna put it around the bar, make sure that it's lined up. So there roughly, just count it out for a second. So right about there, I'm gonna tape it in the middle, make sure it's kind of straight. Use the control panels on the side. I'm just gonna kind of want it to start going in there correctly. Just like that. And this is all scrap material down here, so it doesn't really matter if it's a little bit crumpled up. But then you'll just go ahead and take it up. You can see it goes around the bar, starts getting nice and tight. Going to lift the bar up a little bit. You can take some of this dust out too if you want. There's no big deal on there because it's just a tail end. We're not going to use this part at all. And then you're just going to turn your tape-up rail on. And what that'll do is every single time that your media goes down to almost right there, it's going to actually automatically take itself back up. And that's handy because it'll keep it off the floor. It'll keep your graphics, yep, there it goes. It'll keep your graphics nice and clean, you won't get any dust on it. So when the SUNY Poly logos come out, they will look fantastic, and then we can put them on the laminator. Okay, so now your logos are printed out. We're just gonna do one last procedure here before we get to laminating, and that's bringing it over to, let me do that again here for you guys real quick. So it's gonna be in the print queue. You're gonna swipe over to the right, hit roll, and you're gonna have this option pop up to where you can, with the little scissors right there, you can cut it. Now, before you do that, you just wanna double check to make sure there's no visible graphic in the platen area there. And then you're just gonna cut it. You see the whole thing moves forward. and then the whole thing will cut. Now when it does that, it's going to drop down a little bit, so you just want to keep your hand on it. And remember, your take-up reel's still running, so what you can do is you can slowly walk it in. And then every single time it stops on you, you can kind of go a little further. Also, finally, your holographic is off the floor. Turn off your take-up reel, and you're ready to bring this over to the laminator.